Do you know, we're like 3 weeks away from Bash at Berlin, or 2 weeks, whatever the flub it is. But Raw still has momentum. Now, I'm a very old man, so I remember when you would sort of come off the back of a pay-per-view premium live event, and all of a sudden you'd kind of have to sit there for a while, and you would watch Raws that were so laborious, especially because they were 3 hours long. But if you combine last week's one and this week's one, again, the 2 weeks after SummerSlam, you wouldn't even think we were heading towards a B pay-per-view, right? That's what people like to call the non-WrestleMania, SummerSlams, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series. They call them the B shows, and I am very, very excited that soon we can maybe move away from that term. And listen, this is something that WWE has absolutely taken on board post the brand new change, the new era, the Triple H, whatever you want to call it, because there was a time when Raw and SmackDown were way more important than the pay-per-views because the network was there and, you know, no longer were WWE trying to sell you something. You're already paying your $10. They could just do whatever they wanted. Seriously, go and find some random pay-per-views from like 2016, 2017, and you will see some matches and you'll be like, how did that happen? That can't have happened because I watched that show and yet I have absolutely no recollection of it. Whereas now I like to think in another 5, maybe even 10 years, we can look back at Bash at Berlin 2024. And of course, there's going to be a novelty to it because it's in front of a German crowd. They're all going to be going, I'm so happy to be here, Guten Tag. But I think we'll remember the match as well. I mean, what got announced at the end of Raw, right? Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan taking on Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. That has so much history and that has so much vumbar that you will absolutely be invested because you're excited to see what's going to happen. And I would assume, if not then very soon afterwards, you'll get Rhea Ripley doing the Riptide with Dominic Mysterio, and as we saw on Raw, when we get that, it's going to get the biggest pop ever. And of course, that's how Raw kicked off as well, which is another smart thing, because there are a few voices in your head last week where people were like, oh, I can't believe we didn't have the Dom Liv Rhea stuff straight after SummerSlam, but we're just drawing it out. And not in a bad way, drawing it out sometimes have a negative connotation. But we're just letting these things breathe a little bit because we know we have 52 weeks of programming a year, and we don't need to go crazy ways. So Rhea Ripley comes out, she says Dominic Mysterio did break her heart, but mostly she's just angry and she's going to murder them when of course cowardly Dom and Liv appear in the crowd. But it turns out that actually Rhea Ripley is a smart babyface, as is Damian Priest, because he was in the back going through the map of the arena going, ha ha, I know where they are. He appears behind them like some kind of ghost or the Undertaker, and we get a big old brawl with the Judgment Day. Then Damian Priest beats Carlito, and once again it is Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest who are standing tall. It just works. And there was a rumor that the new Judgment Day were going to be called Street Trash, and then people going, oh, I don't want to see Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley start a new group. None of this matters. None of it. It's all totally irrelevant. Because even if they do get a stupid name, within 6 weeks you'll be used to it. Even if Damian and Rhea do actually make the terrible twos or whatever they're called, a proper group, and merchandise it, you'll get over it. So many times we have seen things, as long as they're good, right? Like Gunther, Walter Gunther, no one cares anymore because he's so damn good. So as long as you are giving people what they want, as Dave Bautista once said, and interesting storylines and cool characters and people you can root for and babyfaces don't look stupid and the heels get theirs, you can kind of do whatever you want. You could call somebody Derek Manpower. Do not do that. If you have not watched my content before, that's my NXT name. That's very unlikely to ever be in NXT, but I want to be Derek Manpower, all right? That's my name. You can't take it. And if you do, I will sue your ass. Maybe I need to go and patent that or copyright it, or whatever it is that we do. But yes, it's just it's awesome as well, because of course the women's title is in play when it comes to Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, although not yet because we're doing the tag team match. But Damian Priest has completely taken a 180 away from the World Championship, and it doesn't feel stupid. It doesn't feel dumb. It feels like, yeah, you have to get your own back on these morons who did screw you over. And Finn Balor, surprise, the guy that keeps running away. He's now calling himself, what was it, Backstabbing Finn? Or Finn the Backstabber? Or Balor the Backstabber? Obviously it wasn't Finn. He should call himself Finn the Backstabber, because that's funner. Balor the Backstabber's right there. But he goes with Finn, and that's another... I know it's dumb when wrestling fans say this, so shoot me out of a cannon. But it's just so nice to see him finally getting his due. He was underrated for years. Finn Balor quite obviously is one of the best wrestlers of the last 20 years. Like, he just is. And lots of people will disagree with that, I suppose, but his influence, especially when it comes to what he did in Japan and then coming back, I think shouldn't be as underlooked as it is, or underrated. I don't know what the right word is, but that's going to be awesome too. And I would presume that we hold this out to a Bad Blood, maybe hold it out to Survivor Series, to a show where they can go big. Maybe we even do it before then. I don't know. But either way, it's going to have the heat. It's going to have the fire. Which is also the same for Gunther, Randy Orton, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre, who I now think we have to throw all into the same conversation space. Now, Seth Rollins' attack by Bronson Reed last week is because Seth Rollins, he's not sort of like super injured. He just has some chronic injuries. So he just needs to go away and sort them out. Seth Rollins is another guy that does not get his due because he's so good all of the time. People just take it for granted. So he can go away and take as much time as he wants. The dude totally deserves it as well. But you have Randy Orton comes out and says, I want to be a 50 15-time world champion. Gunther comes out and says, you know what, you are one of the best of all time, but you should have been the best, you absolute oaf, and you weren't able to pull that off. They get into a tet-for-tet when Drew just storms out. Now, he had planted these seeds earlier because Drew McIntyre had said to Adam Pearce, why is Randy Orton even here? Oh, I'm so sorry. He got screwed over once. I get screwed over all the time, so I'm going to take matters into my own hands. But it does come out that causes the distraction. Randy Orton jumps Gunther with the RKO. Randy is then about to get attacked by Drew, I would presume, when CM Punk is here. He whips the hell out of Drew McIntyre with a belt. They're also tied into the fact with Adam Pearce earlier saying CM Punk isn't here, but that was a lie. CM Punk did that to plant the trap for Drew, and because they were whipping each other a lot, now they're probably going to have a strap match. I don't think you need to do it at Berlin. I think you could hold it off to Bad Blood. So many people thought it would be a Hell in a Cell, but actually a strap match makes all the sense in the world. Hell in a Cell is quite a big leap, and really a cage or a structure like that should be to keep people out, and it's just them. It's just those two that hate each other. So a strap match more than works, and I would hold it off to Bad Blood. That's why I would like Finn Balor and Damian Priest to be on Bad Blood as well, because it's cool when the feuds you have tie into the name of the show. Not like TLC, therefore we have to have a TLC match. But it's just a nice wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh, you know, we're doing these, and look, every single one is a blood feud. I just think that's a cool idea, right? I'm a nerd, I'm a geek. I totally understand it. But make sure, in fact, I'll put it up on the screen right now if I remember. I'll probably forget because I'm an idiot. Drew McIntyre's back after being slammed by that belt was absolutely horrendous, so we're laying that in, brother. But it's just such a good feud, and CM Punk has kind of said, I don't care about the physical representation of the bracelet, so everyone can calm down now. But he does care about what it means and the fact that Drew McIntyre keeps talking about his family, especially his dog. And I would assume we also did this, because after Gunther versus Drew, I imagine that Drew McIntyre is going to win that. We have to have somewhere for Gunther to go, and that could be a Punk, it could be a Drew McIntyre, maybe that is too early. I think I've got some names muddled up there. The point is Gunther is going to need world champion contenders. And we planted those seeds now, and maybe we can change that up. Maybe we don't change it up. Maybe we give Randy Orton the title. I mean, I would be totally surprised, but I think WWE could pull it off because at the moment they're proving no matter what they move into play, they're able to make it succeed. And in fact, I'm only saying this because I want to make sure I showcase both sides of the coin. The only real thing I don't think that is clicking on Raw right now is everything with what they call the Pure Fusion Collective. Oh my God, I didn't laugh. I love them so much. Sonya, Shayna, and Zoe Stark, I genuinely think are three people that have never really got their just desserts in WWE for one reason or another. Is it the Pure Fusion? Sounds like some kind of radioactive demon that's going to come to get you. It ain't a great name, but going back to my final point, in a few weeks we won't care. But I do think this just needs more story. And WWE has kind of made a rod for their own back, because everything else has so much story and twists and turns and depth and everything makes sense that at the moment you have Damage Control taking on the Fusions, and obviously sometimes the tag team champions get involved in there as well. But it almost feels like, well, you've got three people and we've got three people and they've got three people. Let's just have a fight. And WWE's just been doing more lately than just sort of falling back onto that. And there's so many people in this, I kind of feel like we could fragment them out a little bit and have multiple stories that would be super duper interesting. And of course, Io Sky versus Shayna Baszler, was it? I think so. Or was it Zoe Stark? I think it was Shayna Baszler. Whatever. Oh no, it was a tag team match. You know, it ends with the disqualification. Then there's a big schmoz. We still don't know who the number one contenders are. And I think it is also suffering because we're doing the exact same thing on SmackDown. You've got Blair Davenport's crew, and now Naomi has rejoined Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. I just think, listen to the amount of people I just dropped. I don't think Lyra Valkyria was on this Raw. Did I not see her? Either way, usually she comes out with Carter and Chance. They weren't on this Raw at all, so no. It just needs a bit more nuance, I suppose. But it's not bad. Like, again, bad storylines in WWE used to be Bobby Lashley talking to Sami Zayn's sisters, or the other way around. It was Bobby Lashley's sisters. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Or all the stuff with Rusev and Lana. Man, it's with Liv Morgan, if you can believe it. So this is just something that needs a little bit more fuel in the engine. And you could, look, we've proven now we can turn that back on in a matter of weeks, because Bronson Reed now is the coolest, best heel on Monday Night Raw. He has literally taken out Seth Rollins, who's not going to be around for a while, and he had a match with The Miz. So confused, because somebody had said to me, oh man, you're not going to believe it, they kind of go 50-50. Ain't what I saw. It went longer than I expected, but Bronson Reed killed this man, and he's going to go for the Tsunami special when R-Truth comes out. This is why I thought it was so good. This has to be the reason why. Everyone loves Seth Rollins, so gets a big reaction, but that's also because he's a main eventer. R-Truth is a dude that people just love, myself included. So when he comes out to make the save for his friend and then gets crushed 47,000 times, you just feel for the guy and you hate Bronson Reed even more. And I say this with all the respect in the world. Again, Truth is an all-timer for sure. But right now, he's kind of just sort of set in the middle of the card. But he was able to get a bigger reaction because, again, people are emotionally connected to that guy. I don't know what we do with Bronson Reed now. I mean, are we going to set him up for a Bron Breakker match? That would be kind of funny. But we got to do something big with him because it's twice in a week now, him splashing somebody over and over just feels absolutely wonderful, but we don't know where it's going to go. Does he beat the Miz and R-Truth altogether at once? I mean, Randy Orton also kind of got involved here. That's a whole different conversation for a different video too. The Miz and R-Truth had this ridiculous, but I thought very entertaining interaction, confusing Bronson Reed with Bron Breakker, and adding Randy Orton to the mix. I just thought it was a delight. And then you go on the internet, people are like, oh, I can't stand this stuff, I hate it, I don't like it. I shouldn't use that voice, you're allowed not to like it, but it just, I am so invested in it because Goofy Wrestling for Life, Pro Wrestling Tees, and subscribe to the channel. You know the deal. That I wouldn't want to have, especially a Raw which is 3 hours long, I wouldn't want to have a Raw that wasn't without that. And of course, the main event was Bron Breakker versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. Did not do what I thought we were going to do, which is allow Bron just to go win, nothing. And then he'd be super duper over, especially because we teased it once again. Jay and Sami are probably going to be going to SmackDown soon to help Roman Reigns. But Bron Breakker now can move away from Sami Zayn. I imagine Ilya Dragunov will come back, and that's probably what we'll do in Berlin. I would guess is Bron Breakker versus Ilya Dragunov. So Ilya Dragunov's probably laying in some kind of like Wolverine bath at the moment, trying to get his adamantium levels up. I can never say that word. It's a stupid damn word. But you know what I'm talking about here. But yeah, Bron Breakker's arrived. He's going to have an incredible 2024, probably a huge match at 2025 WrestleMania. Could even be John Cena for the IC Championship. I think there's something in that because I would love it if John Cena did win his 17th World Championship. But because he's never won the IC title, that could be one of his stories. And I actually think if you know he's going to win the World Championship again, he could lose to Bron Breakker there. And it doesn't matter because you know there's something bigger down the line. It's like when WWE decides to award someone the Money in the Bank briefcase and they go lose. And they win the briefcase and nobody cares about it anymore because, again, they've usurped what they were doing before. So that is something that I would personally do, but we'll have to wait and see. But otherwise, it's just such an easy to watch show. You have everything with American Made and Alpha Academy. What was the typo? Wasn't it Academy? That's what it was. There was a typo on the screen. Ivy Nile has officially been emotionally manipulated by Chad Gable, so she turned on Maxine Dupree. The Creeds got a win, which is good because they lost last week to the Wyatts. We had another Bo Dallas video, and the presentation is so good. Bo is so good at this Uncle Howdy role. So, you know, we didn't spend that long on the Wyatt 6 this week, but you gave you something just to remind you, oh, hey, this is happening right now. Do not forget it. And we really doubled down on that Seth Rollins attack last week as well, which we should always do. If you have a big angle, tell people this is how bad it was. Don't forget about it and store it away in your brain. So, yeah, it's the only thing we may need to do more with is the tag team titles. But again, that is wrapped up in the Judgment Day stuff to understand why we're holding fire on it. But I just find Raw an absolute treat. And when it ends, I want to see what's going to happen next week, right? And even though Jey Uso hasn't been featured as much recently, that's just money in the bank, for lack of a better term. That's a bullet in the chamber. We know how much everybody loves Jey Uso, and sure, maybe we could do more with him. But if he is about to reunite with Roman Reigns and we're going to go on some Bloodline versus Bloodline thing, whoop-de-doo. Bob's your uncle. And of course, there's rumors out there now, reports I should say, take it all with a pinch of salt, that Jacob Fatu isn't actually injured. We just took him off TV until the end of August because we want to hold off that Roman Reigns interaction. So you have to take everything, once again, you see with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, well, it doesn't matter if you're like a geek, who cares? We're all geek deep down. And being worked is the best thing ever. So I don't think we need to worry about that. But Raw just feels like such an easy show to me. Like it zooms by. And that opening sort of 15, 20, 25 minutes, whatever it was with the Judgment Day, in the past, that would have felt really stretched out and really laborious. I didn't think that was the case here at all. And we kind of go ping, ping, ping around the place. And it's almost better now because there was less backstage stuff with the Judgment Day. A few weeks ago, it was still good. Raw was still really great. But we were trying to tell so many stories with Rhea and Liv and Dom that it'd be about 42 segments, but I can't keep up. This is going nuts. So yeah, I'm excited about the rest of the year for WWE because we're coming out of the lull period now. SummerSlam, it used to be what sort of launched everything back into gear. So the Germany show will be great because, of course, it's a German crowd. I imagine they'll go crazy. September, I'm pretty sure we have off pay-per-view wise, but then you go right into Bad Blood, then it's Survivor Series. Is there a December pay-per-view? Maybe, but if not, the Royal Rumble is right around the corner. Then it's WrestleMania season again, and then we have to start worrying about being dead because where the hell did that go? But there are so many things that we can do, especially because you've got the Netflix thing coming in January. Does that move Cody to one side? Does Roman go to another side? I do believe that Roman has already been announced for this first SmackDown in October when it goes back to USA Network, so there's that as well. It's just going to be a fun old time, and I, for one, am very pumped about it. And even the stories that aren't clicking right now, you always know that around the corner we may be able to make it work, and Bronson Reed is a great example of that. And look, the CM Punk Drew McIntyre stuff couldn't have taken up more than 7 minutes on a 3-hour show. So everybody is getting their time. There's feuds up and down the place. These two still haven't mentioned the World Championship, even though they are kind of involved, because it's all about their personal beef towards each other. And That's what a good wrestling show should do, especially when you have that much time. There should always be something right there to keep you invested and to keep you guessing, because that's the fun of wrestling too, right? What are we going to do here? Like on the Positive Wrestling podcast we did the other day, check it out on YouTube and all that. Trying to figure out the Bash of Berlin card was really hard, but then you got to SmackDown and Kevin Owens went, oh, and we're going to do that match with Cody Rhodes, which I didn't see coming at all. And now you got people saying, well, is he going to turn heel? Can we really have another match where it's just Cody and a friend being like, well, we're going to go have a good match? I don't know. And I think Kevin Owens could probably turn heel, depending on what you have for him at WrestleMania. And I would imagine that is already down on paper, because Triple H likes to book out in advance, which is always easier, because if you have the conclusion of something, then you can have way more fun with the middle chapters, because again, you know where you're going. But yeah, it's another thumbs up Raw from me. And I know I'm a positive Pete, but really, I think you'd have to go out of your way to find things to kind of nitpick here. And it's just all the women's stuff. Again, it's too clumped together, and there's probably something that we can hopefully sort out, but I keep my fingers crossed. On that note as well, she doesn't need my sympathy, but I really hope Dakota Kai gets better soon. She's out for a couple of months, maybe 3, with a torn meniscus. She's going to need surgery. That sucks, man. I mean, I've just come back from this shoulder injury, and you forget how much you do miss it. But she has had so many injuries recently, but it's probably affecting her a little bit. Again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. But if it is, let's just all send positive energy out there. And while you are doing that, please make sure you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is my match with Danhausen, if you'd like to check that out. Otherwise, it's grillermind.com/Simon. You could Simon get 10% off. Patreon.com/Simon Miller 316. Use code Simon20 to get 20% off a Go-Go Fitness if you want to train at home. And obviously, he's a pro boxer, or a former pro boxer, and a pro wrestler, so he knows what he's doing. It is Simon 316 on social media, Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo, personalized videos, and pro wrestling tees for your merchandise. Do whatever you can. I appreciate that, but more importantly, I appreciate your eyes and I appreciate your time. And I'll see you again soon.